So I've had a couple of people ask me if I would be willing to shoot a video on E prime and to talk a little bit about E prime. I have reservations about it, and I'm not going to get into it. I do believe that there is much to be had in learning about E prime and exercising that, in trying to get a handle on it. And I am going to express my criticism of it here in a second and talk about it. But before I do that, I do want to say that without for some people it's become almost like a cult. I am very involved in the Institute of General Semantics, and I would say, if people haven't got a copy of Science and Sanity, they do have a 5th edition out with Bob Pula. They're also, I strongly recommend, right, for people, the 1937 Olivet College lectures and also Manhood of Humanity, Korzybski's earlier stuff. I also do have an edited collection with Lance Strate coming together that's looking, the title of the collection is right now called Korzybski and it's looking at the relationship between Korzybski and other thinkers, everyone like Korzybski and McLuhan, to people like Korzybski and Heidegger, Korzybski and the Stoics. We are looking at some of that sort of stuff, Korzybski and Epictetus. In that context, I think part of the difficulty with E prime is that Korzybski, and let's talk about E prime. E prime uses principles from general semantics to create a language that it believes gets out of many of the problems that come from the way that people think about things. One of the main problems within Western language can be found through the use of the word is. Now, there's different kinds of the use of the word is. They're not so much gunning for things like it is raining or the auxiliary use of is as it accompanies a verb. They're more interested in attacking the kinds of use of the word is that create static abstractions that are out there. So something like he is stupid would be an example. If you're saying a statement like he is stupid, general semantics would say something like, or those who are in E prime might say, well, that if you use it that way, you're going to create this thing called stupidness that somehow this person has, like it's a quality of him or a property of the person. Whereas for the general semanticist, they may say something like, that person, the remark that person said appeared stupid to me. They give some sort of very qualified, and to me, the difference between saying something is something, which is what those people who want to, subscribe to E prime, that's what they want to get at, right? They want to talk about the problem of those who use the word is. And instead of talking about, the food is good, they would say, well, that food tastes good to me, right? They would offer this sort of corrective. Now, here's where some of the problems come in. I think we can all imagine it. Look, I'm as much interested in the history of intellectual thoughts, of intellectual histories. I'm very interested in thinkers. Korzybski was a great thinker. But the E prime stuff has become almost bizarre. Is it good as an exercise? Oh yes, certainly is. It's important for people to learn how to speak in ways that are more active, that bring out active verbs, that remove all kinds of lame verbs. But if it becomes practiced as a religion, it really does get to be very cultish. And I want to talk about some of what I would call the weaknesses of those who move completely out of E prime. If you are fully engaged in E prime writing, part of the problem is the recognition of what we do want to call the virtues of predication. Predication is quite interesting. I can say, for example, that the sound is loud. The sound is loud. And when I make a simple statement like that, the sound is loud, I analytically separate off, by the use of the copula, the little use of the word is there, I separate off the sound from the loudness. Now, one could argue, well, that can't really exist in the, quotes, real world, in reality as it is. Well, there's so many problems with that. I mean, the reality as it is includes human experience, and part of the human experience is the ability to parcel that off. See, this is why so many of the phenomenologists were interested in the fact that language made that experience possible, rather than suggest our experience is illusory and the real thing is somehow there. So, that's we'll move into the problems with Korzybski. Now, I'm on the board of directors for the Institute of General Semantics, right? I'm not anti-Korzybski. I want to make this very clear. I don't think he's beyond reproach, though. Okay, he's not beyond reproach. I mean, for those who believe in E prime, why don't you write some really good E prime that restates Korzybski's statement? So Korzybski's, famous dictum, "Whatever I say a thing is, it is not." Well, he uses "is" a couple of times there. He says the map is not the territory. Well, geez, he's using the word "is" there again. A different way to say it all is that whereas Korzybski says the map is not the territory, and that the territory is always one step removed, that you can't get at ultimate reality. I mean, that was the point of his structural differential, which appears all throughout Science and Sanity. I mean, if anybody's had a chance to, if they're familiar with Korzybski's work, Korzybski had made these, and he had lots of different models of different sizes. I actually have an original one that was made in 1939 or so. But here's, he has the parabola of ultimate reality, this sort of dance and swirl of what's going on, the event horizons of different objects, and then the labels that we use for those. Part of the problem, what Korzybski, in his logic of the map is not the territory, is that by the time he ends up suggesting that the map can only cover part of the territory and that the map is self-reflexive, well, that's where he starts to realize that you can't just say that the map is not the territory, because territory itself is just another word there. It's like saying the word is not the thing. Well, thing is a word, right? If you say whatever I say a thing is, it is not. Well, there, in that sentence, it's like you're treating the word thing as if it isn't and already said. See, that's the problem. That's why many people want to say that there's really only territory. Yeah. What we call a map is actually part of the way the territory relates to itself. What we call a map is actually the territory relating to itself recursively. There's only territory. See, with Korzybski, you end up this bifurcation of maps and territories. Postmodernists push it into its only map. Internal realists, rigorous phenomenologists, would tell you, no, there's only territory. The map, even if it's not the territory, is part of the territory at some level. I mean, the map isn't nowhere. There has to be map somewhere in the territory. So you say the map's not the territory. Well, where is the map? Well, I think we know what the person means. The problem is that language itself is very, very interesting, robust, complex. I can see that I'm running out of time here. Check out Korzybski's work. Is Korzybski beyond reproach? No, not at all. We're hoping to generate a wonderful dialogue here about the way that Korzybski could be brought into a conversation with people like Gregory Bates and maybe Lucien Levy-Bruhl, Kenneth Burke, Sir James George Fraser, Epictetus, Marshall McLuhan, Heidegger, maybe some of the other phenomenologists. But the point would be that there is much to be said, but E prime is not going to be the answer, right? Being widely read in lots of fields, lots of different traditions, like Korzybski, that I think is the deal. Thanks.